Welcome to Built on Air, a podcast and video series about all things Airtable. In this episode, Carri Craver demos for us the COVID-19 vaccination finder she built powered by Airtable and Webflow. Using Airtable as the backend, Carri was able to develop a searchable website where users could find and share feedback on locations in the state of Texas that distribute COVID-19 vaccinations. Her setup involved using Integromat to sync records stored in Airtable to CMS collection list items in Webflow. The result was a user-friendly portal where visitors could quickly view business hours, appointment requirements, and general availability at a glance. Since recording this episode, Carri helped launch a nationwide version of the Vaccine Finder through a partnership with Oracle. You can find an updated link to the tool in the description of this episode.
Yeah, so I wanted to make it just kind of clear, like, this is what we're doing. We're pulling information from Texans who've gone to different places, and they're going to let you know what's going on. And so then I just kind of keep giving a little update each week because everything's been changing. At first, they just sent them all out to pharmacies, I think, and there really weren't very many available, and it was kind of slow. But I just want to let people kind of know what's going on. Some people have signed up to be notified, and so I've kind of told them right now that the notifications are on hold just because I don't know how to notify them because I don't know which places are getting vaccines. By and large, mostly the counties are doing the mass vaccination event. So I'm kind of trying to let people get an overall sense of that. And then this is really the core of the site that they're able to search for places. And so for instance, here, Parkland is one of the main locations in Dallas that's being successful at giving out lots of shots. And so now I have here are the reports that people have brought in, not really wait list appointments or same day shots. However, some people are telling about the walk-up weekend, which is where you can get in line in the middle of the night, basically 4 a.m. and get an appointment. But you can see that different people have added ways that they were able to go there and get things done. Like even telling you like they scheduled the second appointment at the same time. These kind of details make people just a little bit more comfortable and know what to expect. So this one is again that walk-up weekend. It's one of those mass vaccination events, I guess, or what people are calling it. And they basically told about the whole process. You know, you have to get there early, 3:30 in the morning. But you're still able to then come back and get your appointment and get your shot at the appointment later on that day. Not an ideal situation. I mean, I don't think they should be trying to make the oldest and the sickest of our population drive at 3 a.m. But, you know, like if that's what it takes, I guess some people have that ability to do it and are making that happen. But, you know, in an ideal world, that would change. But I would love to show you a little bit about how I connected Integromat, if that's to Airtable for this.
I would love to see it. Before we move from this page, though, I do want to point out, it makes sense. You were saying earlier how you made your forms dead simple. Is there a wait list? Yes, no, I don't know, etc. Seeing these reviews for one place, it kind of makes it clear why you would want to do something like that, because with every location in Texas, there's not going to be, you don't want to have a drop down field for the wait list question, like there's a wait list all the time, there's a wait list sometimes, there's a wait list, you know, only on the weekends and things like that. And so the way you've structured it, it makes it a little bit more it puts more emphasis on reading what the other reviews have said so that you have a more clear picture of what this particular location's characteristics are without you having to account for every single possible combination of services and opening times and whatnot, and having that as a drop down, for instance.
Yeah. I started doing some of that in the beginning, some more details, and I was like, this is just, I can't. I got to just ask the three, because that's what people care about. Can I walk into this place and get a shot today? No. Okay. Can I get on an appointment? No. Okay. Can I get on the wait list? No. Okay. I got to go somewhere else. And I mean, that's the order. Are you going to give me the shot right now? Do I have to come back? Can you just call me later? Or, okay, you're not going to give it to me. Who else is? So that's the flow. Yeah.
So if you want to show the Integramat combination or connection,
Yeah.
Heather, let's take a look.
Yeah. Okay. So here is the experiences update that I did. And so I had it grab, let me show, this is my table from Airtable. And I have just a few fields basically. Okay, so I set this to connect to this table. And it always takes just a second to load, but I want to show. So I picked my experiences new. That's what this table is called. And then the last modified date is the trigger. So once that happens, once that changes, then it'll set off creating a new item. And I did add this just to make sure that it doesn't already have the Webflow ID. Because in the beginning, there were some things that got a little messy and it had some updates and some not. So I was adding in the Webflow ID here as well. So anyway, so I just went through and made sure that each field from my Webflow CMS was connected to the fields from my Airtable. So here's one of the things that I felt like I really like the solution I found using this project. So the way that they map single select fields is really weird. And so for instance, get to one where there's a bunch of the answers on here. Oh, I had the wrong table open. Okay, that would be why. Okay, yeah. So here we go. You can see the appointments, the wait list, and the same day shots. So you also see that here in Integramat, it gives this long string of valid values. I don't know why you can't just pick your value and copy it in, but so I didn't want my Airtable to give it this value of no, I don't know, and yes for appointments because it's looking for these strings. It's not looking for yes, no, and I don't know.
So those are, I think, the unique ID for the Webflow version of no, yes, I don't know.
Exactly. You're absolutely correct.
That's
yeah.
Really obnoxious.
And so here's what I did just to make it so that it would work is I basically wrote this formula that said if appointments equals no in this column, make this the answer. And if appointments answers yes, make this. And if it answers I don't know, make it this. And so I just use that as a formula field. And so instead of having appointments be the field that I pull in here, which is one of my choices, I pulled in, instead of appointments, I pulled in appointments copy. And, I obviously could have named it whatever else, the code or appointments code or something like that, but I just kept it as appointments copy. And I did the same thing with waitlist and the same day with the same day shots, the same thing. And so that makes it so I don't have to go in there and manually ever do anything when those come in. It's a little hacky, but it works and it keeps it automated and going. But I had done some other solutions first, and I'm happy that I finally stumbled upon a simple if this answer, this is the code. If this answer, this is the code. And since this is only 3 questions and only 3 options for each, it didn't take that long to go and grab these. Yeah. But so that was nice in a way that it kind of kept it going. But yeah, so then it creates the item. And then the last thing that I have it do is just so that I can make sure that I know that one has been added is, let me see where my Webflow ID field is. Yeah. So I make sure it goes and it adds the Webflow ID back to my Airtable table so that it's so that I know that that one has been updated. And by doing that, I just told it to go to this field and add the item ID from the Webflow CMS.
Yeah.
And so that it lets me keep things organized. So this really wasn't too complicated of a way to set that up. I did have to set up the CMS in Webflow first, and that took a little bit of time as well, but not too much. And now they just run. I haven't had to touch the scenarios in, I don't know, I think 2 or 3 weeks. I have them set so that it's about every 10 minutes after somebody adds their location update. It doesn't run instantly. It takes a little bit of time. But it's working and I don't have to touch it. So,
and as we saw, it's only 3 steps. I mean, the router was in there, but 4 steps, if you will. A very simple Integromat recipe.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It certainly, as far as these go, it's pretty simple and it just works. I've said it plenty where they don't just keep working. The first 2 or 3 days, I kept coming back and expecting it to break and something to have gone wrong, but it hasn't happened. And, at this point, it's just kind of going and updating, and not too many updates a day, but some. And yeah, running every now and then.
You have a similar one for location updates if you add a new place where a vaccine can be retrieved.
Exactly. Yeah. Where either I add something new or some of these titles, they just weren't exactly the way that the place is called. For instance, like this one, actually, that T should be capitalized. So I was going in and making some of those edits, and I wanted those to show up as well.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So that is there anything else that I should show specifically? I mean, that's pretty much it.
When you're on the website, does it, so we saw with that one example that you showed that some people said it had a wait list and some people didn't. Does your website say like X% of people say it has a
No.
Okay.
Well, and that's one of the things. I actually had some people from Oracle reach out to me, and they are working on rebuilding this. And so there are some things like that we're going to be able to add into the site that they're going to launch hopefully soon.
So it's going to be rebuilt again.
Yeah, I'm not doing this rebuild. They are, but they're going to be able to actually launch this to somewhere between 45 to 49 states. And so hopefully it's going to cover almost everybody in the US. And we're adding a thumbs up. So right here on these, we're going to have a thumbs up that says this information helped me, and a thumbs down that said this something here is misleading or wrong. And just so that we can kind of gauge which information is most helpful and sort that to the top. Yeah, as well as, we have the date and obviously the ones where it says there is stuff is what we would like, and to be at the top. Now, those won't necessarily go to the top of a specific location, but they may go to the top of kind of list whenever somebody types in their zip code, which is another thing that they're going to be able to do. So I'm really going to be happy when somebody can come to the homepage, go right here, type in their zip code, and then be able to see all the places within, I think the choices are like 10 miles, 25 miles, and 50 miles of your house. So, they're definitely able to do some features that I'm not. So that'll be nice. Yeah.
Well, I wish that endeavor all the luck. I have a couple of ideas of how this specific iteration, maybe could do something along those lines, but I mean, it would be more more complications than it's probably worth, since it's already being rebuilt anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been an interesting thing. Because I'm holding off on making updates because they're rebuilding it and they're going to be able to do more than I possibly could. But it's also just a no-code builder in me wants to keep updating it. And
Yeah.
they're almost ready to launch, but they still haven't. So I'm really excited to be working with them, and their team is great. It's just the nature of kind of who they are and what they're doing, that the speed is not the same. It's
Yeah.
a little slower. Yeah.
So did they approach you or did you approach them?
No, they approached me. Yeah, I was blown away. Somebody reached out and said, "Hey, I'd like to help. What can I do?" And I said, "Oh, at that point, I was still trying to get the CSV file for the whole 1,400 list here of the locations."
Yeah.
And he got back to me. I actually got that from somebody else, but he got back to me after that, and we kept talking. And he said, "Well, I would like to have Oracle help, not just me." And I was like, "Okay, what?" "Yeah, let's do this." And so I've been working with them for the past 2 or 3 weeks.
Mhm.
And hopefully, they're getting really close. They've got a whole lot of it built and I can see it, but it's just not completely done. So they're not ready. But hopefully in the next couple of days, it'll be launched. And most of the site will be from their build. I think some of the pages are still going to stay from my build, like um, my contact Carri form and things like that. The ones that aren't all about the process and the finding the vaccine. Um, so we're trying to keep it so they do just the stuff that's really hard.
Will it be the same URL or will it be moved to a different?
Yeah, so I'm going to launch it to a different URL. It's going to be Find Vaccine USA because it's not just Texas at that point. And yeah, I won't. I'll probably redirect this one to that after I'm sure that one's working well after a couple of days. But yeah, it's going to
Well,
be the same process and the same kind of layout and things like that.
this episode will come out, at least a week, perhaps two after it was recorded. So there might be a chance that the new website will be available at the time of this episode's release. And so just want to throw that out there.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully, yeah, findvaccineusa.com. That's going to be the URL.
Excellent. Last thing I want to just ask, when you are making this website, did you pull this your initial list of locations from a source? Was there like an API that you used, or just like, did someone just have a CSV file that you could like download and then add to your Airtable?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it was kind of a combination of things. At first, I just wanted to get started. And so I started just doing data entry the whole Sunday. So I launched it on Saturday, and then Sunday I did data entry for, I don't know, 10 hours.
Ugh.
Trying to add a bunch of the data for Dallas and Austin. And then I started asking people, please help me get the CSV. And I run a group called No Code Open Coffee Club on Wednesday nights. And one of the gentlemen from there, and then a woman from Reddit, they both sent me it the same night, within like 20 minutes of each other. I'd been searching for like 3 days and they both got it to me. And so I was ready to just upload that and have all the locations. And so I think it was that Thursday that I was able to launch to all of Texas. But at first, the first couple of days, it was really just Dallas and a few places in Austin. But with that, I was still able to get on the local news, because this only works if people know it exists and if they're going there and adding the information. So I was really trying at first to be on the local news in the evenings to let people know about the product.
Yeah, makes sense. And I've certainly been there where I've been like searching for something for days, and then I'm like, man, I really wish I could find this precise thing. And then someone in my network is like, oh, you mean blank? It's right here.
Yes.
Why weren't you in the search?
Yeah, it's a little frustrating the state doesn't just put that as a link so that people could help, but that's not, I guess it's just not how they think. And the data scraping apparently wasn't that hard. Data scraping is just not something that I'm great at.
Well, it's a completely different skill set, but I'm glad you were able to get so much data from just reaching out, and now you have all of Texas covered, and soon, the vast majority of the United States.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Well, thank you so much for being on. We will have links to the current iteration at this time, and then we'll include a link to the future destination, which will cover all of the United States. And, just as a disclaimer, in case, this is pre-recorded, if the website isn't quite there yet, it will be.
It is coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unknown ETA.
Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to bring up, or anything that you want us to link to our audience?
Part of this that motivated this is I'm going through a fellowship program called Be on Deck, or the website is beondeck.com. The program is On Deck, and they have one specifically for no coders. And part of why I created this was because I didn't want to go into that program not having a live product that was out there. I couldn't have imagined the success that this would have and the attention it's getting, but it was really motivating. A motivating factor for me was to go into that program and have something to be able to show the other fellows in the group, because their work is so good, and so many of them had amazing things that it really pushed me. And then now that program has started, it is unbelievable. If you are a no-code builder and you want to push your skill set and be surrounded by a community of other encouraging and motivated no-code builders, I highly recommend that program. It's been wonderful to me.
Great. BeOnDeck.com.
Yes.
Excellent. And I love that. I need a project to show. Let me make a product that makes the entire state of Texas healthier. Great.
Well, yeah, when you're searching for an idea, you never know where they're going to come from. And it just kind of naturally fell in my lap, because my dad was like, where am I going to go? How's this going to work? I'm just going to call every day. I'm like, hold your horses. I'll try and help.
I can build it. We have the tools.
Yes. Yeah, that was my exact thing. I was like, all right, I'm off. Leave me alone. I got to work.
And you did it. Thank you so much for doing so. And thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, Camille. I'm really excited to get to talk to you.
Great. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to give it a like or hit us up on social at BuiltOnAir. We always love to hear your comments and suggestions. And don't forget to subscribe to catch new episodes when they release. It helps us keep the podcast going.